the fact that I was capped. I realized I couldn't make any more money. When I'm booked 6 months out, I'm only one person. 6 months of clients is a blessing. However, it's people I'm having to turn away. I'm having to turn them away. So that's when I realized I got to become an employer and hire somebody.
What up, world? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the COSIGN Conversations podcast. Again, I'm your host, KG. COSIGN Conversations podcast, we interview entrepreneurs, creators, executives, influencers that we co-sign and want to introduce to the world. And today we have the 2023 Beauty Entrepreneur of the Year, Laced by Lonice. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for coming into our space and joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Of course, of course. So for those who just found out about you last year at the awards gala, right? I like to kind of go, get the backstory. I know we talked a little bit offline yesterday about where you're from, but let's take it all the way back. So kind of tell us where you're from and how you got started in the beauty industry, and then we'll just go from there.
All right, perfect. So yes, I am from Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff to be exact, born and raised. That is my hood. But no, seriously, I started off in corporate retail. So I was a fashion buyer prior to becoming an entrepreneur. So I've always had a passion for fashion. And so coming into the beauty industry, I don't think it was too far off, but it was definitely not in my plans to be an entrepreneur or a esthetician. It was totally, I say, God's plan. But I do know that being in corporate retail and just corporate America, period, was something that in my family, you were trained and like saying you go to college, because I graduated from University of North Texas, then you go work for a company and then you retire. That was, the path I was going on, right? But it definitely wasn't. Corporate America was stressful. It was definitely, I was being discriminated against because I was a Black successful woman that had a college degree. And I was like, this is not life. Like, I should not hate getting up to go to work anymore when this was my dream. Like, my dream was to become a buyer. That's what I thought I wanted to do.
You fulfilled that part.
I did. But when I got there, it was terrible.
If you don't mind us asking, what company were you working for?
So I worked for Stage Stores first, which was Bell's department store. That was in Texas. And then my second store I worked for was Neiman Marcus. I was there in their corporate office. And then I ended my career at Wisteria, and which was a home and decor. So I ended my career being a home and decor buyer. But they went out of business. Their business just didn't do so well. So I was one of the last buyers they hired. So, some of the last ones in and the first ones out when the business started to tank. At the other two companies, it was simply them trying to keep me at a level that
they didn't want you to grow.
No, they did not. And I was like, that's why I moved. And then I ended up going to a company that couldn't survive. So
So there's a lot to unpack. Let's start there. Okay. So a lot of times, in our culture and in this country, like you said, they want you to go to school 4 to 8 years, they want you to work for 20 plus, and then retire. That was your dream. You did it. You realized that wasn't for you, right? When you get to that point, right, how do you make that transition? Because your whole life you're thinking, this is what I want to do. And you hit that dream, then you're like, this isn't it. What am I going to do? So what was going through your mind at that time when you realized, I can't continue to do this. I need to do something else?
I just started looking for, while I was still in corporate, before I ended up getting laid off, when the company went out, I was like looking for part-time jobs that I liked to do.
Okay.
And I was just like, let me be intentional about something that wasn't stressful to generate income. I was looking for an additional stream, and I had already worked in department stores. So I was like, yeah, I've been there, done that. Don't want to go back to that, but not too big to do it if I needed to. And because it's easy to get in the buying office once you're in and have the experience. I had like 13 years of experience at that time. Okay. So, but I wanted to be intentional about the next move. Okay. I wanted to do something that was fun, that fulfilled me, that I was just like, I want to be able to make a difference. Okay. And I didn't feel that way when I was in this quote unquote dream job. So, I was asking God, show me my gift. Gotcha. What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And some people don't know, I used to do acting, TV hosting, modeling prior to or during all of that. Okay. That was like my side hustle and that fun job, but that stuff didn't pay the bills. Gotcha. It was just something fun to do. I would interview celebrities on red carpets, BT Awards, things like that. But I knew that was just little play money. Right. So I needed some money. You know what I'm saying? Money. Like I needed some adult money. I had just had my daughter at that time. So, that established my why to why I'm not taking this with these other companies. So, I met actually an esthetician on a movie set that I did, and she was looking for models she was doing our makeup on the movie, but she was looking for models to do lash extensions on. Okay. And I was like, sure, I had already built a rapport with her. I had seen her on set for a few days, and we connected. I went to her spa after that. She was just practicing, getting better. And so I'm a minimalist when it comes to makeup and stuff like that. Okay. So that was right up my alley when I was like, dang, I look like I got mascara on. I look like I had my makeup done, but I didn't. I just had lash extensions and they were so light. I didn't like strips. I didn't know how to put strips on. It was just so hard for me. I was literally just like a lip gloss girl and get up and go. Like that was it. So when she asked me to come do that, I loved the way I looked. Like I literally looked like I woke up in my makeup. Okay. And so once I kept getting a couple feels from time to time, and I was like, can you teach me how to do this? And she was like, I just learned, but sure. And I think she charged me $500. Okay. And she had literally just learned how to do it herself, but I wasn't tripping. It is what it is. I paid her for her service to teach me. And that's when lash extensions. Okay. Yep. And that's when I was like, maybe I can do this. Okay. Lash extensions was my segue into the beauty business. I practiced. I hit up everybody in my phone and was like, hey, I started doing lash extensions. I need help getting my portfolio built. Can y'all let me practice?
And when was this? So people can kind of...
This was 2015. This is 2015.
And when did lashes become popular? 'Cause I'm not a woman, but I feel like it's like I feel like it's new. Right?
Yeah, but it's not new. It's not? Like I started doing this in 2015.
So you're early on.
Yeah. Okay. So it's more popular now, I think, because people don't have the integrity or the quality, and everybody just think it's a fad. Right. But this has been my business for almost 10 years.
Okay, so everybody on your phone.
Right, absolutely. And then this is before I had a lash bed. I'm doing clients on my actual bed in my bedroom. I was literally down in the grid like that. Yeah. Like, cause mind you, I had just got laid off at this point. I couldn't afford to do anything extra really, but I did. I took that $500 and paid her, and I just started doing clients in my room and used my ottoman from my couch as my stool and literally getting it out the mud. So that was really my aha moment when I would be busy all day doing this. And I'm like, man, if this could be a full-time thing for me, how much do I need to make to really survive?
Right.
And I kind of started doing that. I talked to my husband about it, and he was like, let's put together a 6-month plan and see how much money you can make just doing lashes. And then we can kind of gauge and see where you are. Well, when that happened, like us speaking that next week, I was laid off from the job. And that's when I was like, okay, this means I got to do this for real. This is when something is taken away from you like that, that was a clear sign to me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's time to go all in.
Because other than that, I would have kept putting it off. Like, oh, I'll quit my corporate job in about 6 months. I'll quit in a year. That because that's the cushion.
Right.
But God took that job from me so I can go full throttle into entrepreneurship.
That's what's up.
That's what I needed. I feel like some people think they can just go and do it, but I think for me, I would have just kept that cushion and just doing it on the side. But he snatched it. He said, "Nah, this is what you finna do."
Yeah, sometimes you got to leap. Like similar, well, not too similar, but for me, I had when I was with my ex, we had a family, so it's like I couldn't just jump out there because I'm like, I got to make sure, the kid's good, got to make sure she good.
Right.
And it wasn't until, we didn't work out and we went our separate ways. So it was like, I have nothing else to lose. So I'm going to just go full time with it. And that's kind of how it happened. And, he took that away from me. And same thing, I was working, I hated that job. He took that away from me too. So I was like, hey, full-time COSIGN, and been doing it ever since.
That's good. Yeah. And it's like, either you gonna sink or you gonna swim. What you gonna do? And it's only a few that's gonna make it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm super grateful for this opportunity to still be here and quote unquote continuing, I feel like, to build my relevancy in the industry.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I just got back from Miami. I was speaking at the International Beauty Show in Miami, and to be one of the only Black woman speakers. It was myself and one other Black guy that was there. The rest are all, Caucasian and other races there. So that leap of faith that I took and didn't take it as a negative, I made it work.
So that's amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to talk about building a beauty business, because in our culture, a lot of us are just hustling. Right. Like, even when you first started, when I first started, we're just taking on clients, doing the work to get paid, to pay bills, to survive. Right. When did you actually turn it into an actual business model? And what was that process like? And kind of talk to us about those first 2 years. Okay. So once I got laid out from the job, that's when I entered esthetician school. I got laid off January of 2015. I entered esthetician school because I was like, I do want to get my license. I want to just be out here, freestyle. Yeah, I want to be professional at what I'm doing. And that was March of 2015. And how much did that cost you on that? It was $5,000. Okay. School cost $5,000. Okay, so $500 and a $5,000 investment. Okay. Yep. And when I got laid off, remember, I didn't have much time with that company yet. So my little pension was only $5,000. Oh, wow. So I literally took that money and just paid for school. Oh, wow. So that was March of 2015. I finished school in October of 2015. In between there, I'm still doing clients. I'm going to school and just doing clients was my basically stream of income. And then once, so then I got my LLC for my business that September. So that month before I finished, because I realized this has to be a real business for me. I have to make this work. This is not just a hobby. This is a business. So that was my first step. Opened up my business bank account as well as getting my LLC, hired a lawyer. I didn't know at the time, you can just go on LegalZoom and do it yourself. But I had a friend at the time that was an attorney as well, and she helped me get my LLC situated. So that was another $700 investment that I had to pay her to do that. I think when I learned later on LegalZoom, it's probably $300-400, but it's all good. I got it done. So just for the people watching, we're at $6,200. Yeah. Started. Right. And then after
I did that. That was October 2015. Then I worked with a cousin. She had a lash salon for, it was a little room. We shared one room. It was one room with 2 beds. She did lashes and I did lashes too. And she was super busy and she was like, hey, your mom told me you do lashes. I would love for you to come up here and help me. And I was happy about that because it was starting to get weird with all the people coming to my house.
Yeah.
Like I was literally looking for a place, but it was like a blessing, that she reached out so I can get out of my house and had a actual professional place for me to take my clients. And so once I got to that point, that's when I was like, when I was able to see she already had an established business, her clientele rolling in consistently. That was like inspiration for me.
Right.
And so when I told her I already had my LLC and all, she's like, oh girl, you already ahead of the game. That's good. Like you already got the business mindset to make this a business. And so I learned quite a bit being around her. About the business a little more, having a website and POS system and all of those things. I just started taking notes, basically being around her. She had been in a business probably like 3 or 4 years prior. Okay. And so it was really, really eye-opening to be able to be around somebody actually doing it. So I would say I was there for almost 2 years. Okay. And I started looking at actual suites for myself. And that's when I ventured out and got my website done. And that's when I was like, okay, this is expensive. I think my website at that time was about $500. Whoever I think, I'm trying to think her name was Chase. A girl named Chase that did my website for me. It was about $500. I developed the logo because she had her logo and stuff. My cousin did. So I knew, okay, now she had the brand recognition. What I need to do, I need to start building a brand so people will know who I am. And, I think the logo was $500, the website was $500. So another $1,000 that I spent to get that done. And then I went to go get me a salon suite. And my salon suite was probably about 195 square feet, but it was my little piece of, and what I did start doing though, I was going to different spas to experience their experience. Okay. So I can see how I wanted my experience to be for my clients.
So you go pay for the services, get the experience, and kind of figure out what you like and don't like.
Absolutely. Okay. And see what I wanted to have in my business. Okay. And we kind of learned that in school where you can comp shop. They call it comp shopping to see what you like and what you don't like and how you want your business to be versus someone else's. And that was really, really good for me to start to establish, again, building a brand. Okay. And that was really, really good for me to start doing that. And even in my little 195 square foot room, like I offered my clients water and wine. Okay. They would have a robe waiting for them and slippers to get ready for their facial. Cause at that point I started incorporating facials once I became an esthetician in October. And that was pretty much the path of that.
That's 2015, right? Mm-hmm. So you're in there for 2 years.
Right.
That's 2017. So we know where you're at now, but for the people watching, you go from sharing a suite with your cousin, and then you go to your own 190 square foot studio. What was after that?
After that, I went into another suite that was in a larger suite in the same building at Salons of Dallas, and which is right there by our Highline Drive. If any of y'all are familiar, if y'all in Dallas and know where the Dallas Mavericks play, not far from there. Okay. So they had another room in a private area because I was in there with a lot of hairstylists. So even though my room is in this private room, hairstylist is loud. Yeah. You know, it's a loud area. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm having to knock on the window. Like, listen, y'all, I got a client in here. So that was hard, but you know, you have to start somewhere. Yeah, for sure. And so then I got into what they call the quiet area, which was probably a little bit bigger, maybe 225 square feet. Okay. But I was like, ooh, this is great. And it was amazing. So I went there and that's when I hired my first employee. where I realized I was getting so booked. Because what happened was I stayed true to my city, to my community. I'm from Oak Cliff. I always would post things like, you know, if I can, you can, and things like that. And people were really inspired by this little Black girl from Oak Cliff doing this. Like, I have my own business, but I didn't know how to run a business, but I'm figuring it out. You know, as I go along, I literally was figuring it out as I go. And I let them know that they could get chemical peels. Chemical peels changed my business because people didn't know that Black people or people of color could get chemical peels back then, especially those from where I was from. They didn't realize that. And I would post that on Instagram and Facebook. First, it was just Facebook, really. Instagram really wasn't popping like that at first. But once I found Instagram, that's what took my business. Like, it skyrocketed my business. And I was showing the before and afters with lashes and the before and afters of chemical peels. And people were really intrigued by the results of the chemical peels. And it was myself and one other esthetician out here, and we were booked 6 months at a time. So it's like, if I couldn't get in with her, I'm getting in with you. That's literally what the clients was coming to tell us. Like, I'm trying to get in with you, and she'll call me, hey, I got somebody trying to get in with you because I'm booked. That we kind of had a tag team system like that because it was only, I'm sure it was other Black estheticians, but it was only 2 Black estheticians at that time that was really popular on social. And we were marketing ourselves out there like that. And that really let me know I can literally retire probably and do this. That was the real eye-opener for me in 2017.
So 2017, you say you started making some real money. In the business.
Yeah.
Okay. What percentage, or how would you weigh the growth of your business from like marketing and being like results driven? What I mean by that is, okay, you got to be on social media a lot promoting, right? So people are seeing you, but then also like the results that you talk about from like the facials. What do you think was the heaviest on you getting new clients and becoming, you know, a leader in your industry? Was it that you were like popular because of social media, or was it that the results that you were showing, people were like, I need those results?
I think it was the results for sure. I don't care about popularity. Was I popular growing up? Even before school, I was always kind of popular. But I definitely think people don't care about that when they're paying, you know, a couple $100 for a facial. They want the results. They don't care about the popularity. So I definitely believe it was my results that drew the people to me. I don't think anything else would have mattered. If I wasn't posting those before and after results, I probably wouldn't have been booked. Yeah. So
2017, starting to make some real money. And then 2019, you expand into the location you're at now.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us what led to that. Why'd you want to grow? You grew so fast in 2 years, and like, how'd you even get into the space, right? Because a lot of people starting a business, they start with the suites and then they kind of like stay in that area because it gets comfortable, it's affordable, but you really took a bet on yourself and expand. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So getting into the storefront location I'm in now, and so freestanding store, it was the fact that I was capped. I realized I couldn't make any more money. When I'm booked 6 months out, I'm only one person. 6 months of clients is a blessing. However, it's people I'm having to turn away. I'm having to turn them away. So that's when I realized I got to become an employer and hire somebody. And now, instead of making just $200 an hour, how can I make $400 an hour by having another person? And so that was what I did at Highline. I moved again. I moved one more time in this same building in 2017, 18. And they had a two suites right across from each other. And I asked them, could y'all brush this wall down for me so I can have like one big suite so it can be me and someone else? And they did. Because I had been a good tenant, always paying my rent on time or whatever. So they did that for me in there. And I was able to hire my first esthetician. And so I would say for anybody, when you're feeling like you're capped, that's when you kind of really realize you need to start to delegate and hire, because I couldn't take any more clients until 6 months from now. So now I need to duplicate myself.
When you first hired?
That was in 2018.
She did the same thing you did, facials and lashes, or?
Yes. And the plus though, I wanted to have somebody else that did something I couldn't do or that I didn't do. She did makeup. She was a makeup artist. So now, until she's trained and people trust her, because that takes a while too, because people's like, I want Lonice, I want you. And I'm having to promote her during that time, but she also does makeup. That was something unique that I didn't do. Right. So now we have a makeup artist on staff. So she was getting booked with that at first until people got like, man, dang, okay, I'll just go ahead and go to her. But I'm, promoting that I've trained her. She's thorough and all of the things. But so that was about 2018 when I hired her, and she was doing amazing. And then I was like, well, now I got one that was successful. I want to do it again. Let's try to do it again. But I knew at that point I had to move because there wasn't enough space. And of course that was so scary. Getting into the space where I'm about to, because at the salon suites, I don't pay lights, water, gas. If something break down, I call them. I didn't have any of that. I just paid my rent. That was it. Nothing else. So now I'm getting into thinking about basically owning another home, because I own a house now. But now I'm finna look for another location. But now that's going to be another mortgage, another light bill, another water bill,
got the insurance,
and the insurance for business, all of these things at this point. And in between all of this time, right, I'm finding business coaches, I'm taking business classes, mentorship programs. I'm doing all of these things to learn how to run a spa business. So I was also, even though I'm working, I'm also investing in my education during this time. So it's not like, this just all magically happened. I started realizing I needed some help. And so I started seeking people in my industry that have done what I've done. And I end up coming across my mentor that's still my mentor today, named Candace Holyfield, 6-figure spa chick. She's from Atlanta. And so I would go
on social media.
You
found her on social media?
I did. I found her on social media, and I went to a conference in Miami, and that's where I met her in person. And that's when we kind of connected. Like, sometimes you got to pay to get in the rooms with the people, and that's what I knew I did. I needed to do, and I did that. And she still supports me to this day. She came to support me in Miami while I spoke at this show, actually. So.
That's awesome. I want to talk about that too, because, during the pandemic, there was a lot of people doing courses and stuff like that. So we became oversaturated, right? And, but people should pay to play. Like, you're paying to get ahead of the curve, right? Because it may take you 2 years to learn what they've already done to where they could teach you in months, right? So it's worth the investment. But what did you look for, or what should people look for when they're looking to buy into like a mentorship program, or, they're looking to invest in themselves, but they kind of want direct access? What would you advise them?
I would definitely say look for someone that's in your prospective industry, because every industry is a little different. And I feel like you want to invest in somebody that you can relate to more. And not saying I can't take a business class from you, but it's definitely, in the beginning stages, I think it's very important for you to invest with someone or look for a mentor that done the same thing you have done. Because they can literally tell you what to do and not to do, or how they would do things differently. And I specifically sought out someone that was in my industry. And I think that's what made the difference for me.
Gotcha.
Whereas I know some other estheticians like, I paid for this girl and this girl. And they was like, they target us, but they didn't work in our industry.
Okay.
So it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so you have to make sure you're vetting the person that you really think you're wanting to learn from.
Gotcha.
And make sure they have their credentials. They are who they say they are.
Facts.
You know, because people will definitely juice it up and they never did what you thought they did. And so I definitely took time to figure that part out. But I had to invest. I had to pay. It wasn't cheap.
Man, I know that is. And not to be on your business, but we kind of like to like show, the growth and kind of show numbers so people know what to look for, right? So you go from the Highline suites, the double suites, and now you're at the storefront. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want to tell us a number, you can tell us like maybe like 4X or like how much more was that investment that you made in yourself?
So no, I don't mind, to be honest with you. I'm very transparent. So when I hired a commercial realtor. Okay. Because that's not my lane. Right. That's not my profession. So I wanted to make sure I had a professional to help me find what I was looking for. Right. So, we looked at a few different places. But once we found where I am now, it's a little house that we turned into a spa. It was about $30,000 that I had to put in to renovate into. At
your own pocket?
Yes.
All right. And then you had to also do what? Was it like first month and deposit, or is it like?
Yes. So with them, I had to pay my first month rent, and say rent was then about $2,500. Okay. And then I had to make it pretty. Because it was not pretty. It was actually going to be a law office. And there was carpet all over. In our industry, we can't have carpet. We have to have all like hard, non-porous flooring. So, and I had to add a room onto the building, cause I needed more space for, a team. And, it was a lot. And the thing about when you're leasing a building, sometimes you have to go with their contractors. I had people that I knew that I thought I could work with, but sometimes the landlord will have stipulations. So though I wanted to do all of these things, I had to go through her people, which was a bit much more expensive than what I wanted.
They're always more expensive.
Exactly. Because they got the general contractors and stuff like that. So that was a little bit more of my budget. So again, bet it on myself, right? And I still did it. Luckily now, did I have to pay them the whole 30 bam right then and there? No. Of course, it's per project. Once they get things done, you're able to make the payments. But that was my total investment once I took it to the next level in 2019. But that was September of 2019. Y'all know what happened in 2020.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. I, had my building, got it all pretty, and I finally transitioned. So I got it September. I finally moved all my clients over December of 2019. Then February, I had my grand opening because everything was done. And then March, pandemic happened. Ooh. I'm like, God, really? Yeah. This is really what you wanted me to do right now today. Okay. So, thankfully, at this point, right, I've been in it for a minute. Yeah. You got to learn how to pivot. Yeah. So the great thing about being an esthetician is you have the opportunity to not only get paid as a service provider, you have the opportunity to generate income from products. So I had my skincare products start showing up, going live every single day on social media, doing my skincare regimen. And I was able to connect with people all over the world because people was at home. Yeah. The power of hashtags. That's what changed my life and allowed me to survive the pandemic after I just paid all this money. I had to figure that out. And so I was doing product sales all over the world, shipping products, skincare products. That's what helped me survive. If I didn't have a product, I probably would have been crying and just, you know, I don't know, because I couldn't go to the spa to do services. People were scared. You couldn't.
You couldn't do anything.
So I had a product, skincare.
Do you feel like when you grow your business, people should invest in products so that way they're getting paid? What is it called? Like residual income? They're getting paid even when they're not working? Or is it like a large investment for people to make?
No, I definitely think that you definitely should have both. Okay. It goes hand in hand because number one, as an esthetician, if you're doing someone's facial, you want to make sure the client has a quality skincare regimen when they leave you. Right. Like if they just paid $200 for a facial, you definitely need to supply them with the products to maintain those results. Right. And so, and if not, you missing out. Like, why wouldn't you? Right. It's an easy thing. And most skincare companies have a minimum. So make sure you look to see that you can afford that minimum, or find a company that doesn't. Okay. And at that time, SkinScript, which is a skincare product company that doesn't require a minimum, I killed the game with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do basically how many ever you want to. Mm-hmm. The price just varies. Yeah. Depending on your orders though.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. But for some product lines, they be like, you got to at least order $2,000 worth of product first. Gotcha. And when you're starting, that's kind of hard. You don't have $2,000. You just barely made it through school. Right. Mm-hmm. But, the advantage that company SkinScript had for me at that time anyway, is there was no minimum, but the products were fire. They were great. Okay. And they were changing people's lives.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So I kind of do like a full circle moment, right? Uh-huh. So when we talked about when you first started, you were wanted it to be a buyer, right? What did you learn in corporate America that helped you with your own business? Oh,
that's a great question. Definitely having a level of professionalism. Mm-hmm. That is something that I feel like a lot of people in our industry lack because they're not realizing, yes, you get to make your own hours. Yes, you are your own boss, but your professionalism has to be first and foremost for you to have a real business if you want it to sustain. Right. Having policies. Whether you have a deposit, whether you have a late fee process, whether you, you have a requirement of everybody coming in with a clean face before, like having those policies typed out on your website so people can take you serious as a business owner is huge. And I learned that from corporate. So I literally kind of took that into my business. Same with hiring. Some of the hiring questions I remember during my interviews, for whatever reason, I kept some of those questions in my pocket. So when I would interview estheticians, I would incorporate some of those. Like I would say, how would you handle a disgruntled client? That I need to know that, because you can't say I'm a cuss them out and lead a spy and like, nah. Nah, we not doing that. And so that's, but I'm looking for answers like that, So those questions, I remember keeping those from corporate, and I just incorporated that into my business to weed out some of the serious estheticians from the ones that were, not a fit for us.
Yeah, I think for me, and I hated it at the time, but now that I'm so grateful that I experienced it, was corporate America, the structure of like standing operating procedures, SOPs. Like when you bring somebody on, you make them refer back to the SOPs. Of course, you train them first, but then after you train them, refer back to your SOPs to understand how to do your job in each task, right? And that's so important because when you're in like the midst of working, when you're, in the mud of it, it's hard to kind of go back and, have to help somebody the entire time. Like you have your training days, and after this, here's your videos of how to do this, or here's, the link to, the PDF of how to do everything. But I think that's helped a lot of businesses overall, is having those SOPs. But I learned that in corporate America. So.
Yeah. For sure. I learned those too, like having those policies and procedures. Just because this is a spa and I'm Black, like I got policies and procedures. Yeah, like people would kind of try to construe that or didn't think that it would be in place like that. They didn't think they were going to have to sign a contract.
Yeah.
You know, we have contracts in place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To protect what we built. But those are things that are definitely key for you to separate yourself, I say, from a real business to
for sure.
a fake business.
I'm glad you do that because I'm not going to lie. Sometimes, like, there's certain things that I want to implement that I haven't yet because, you know, when you're the face of a business, people feel like they have a relationship with you, right? And you don't want to turn anybody off.
Right.
But it's also, you have to get to a point people have to respect your business and your time, right?
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to implement, like, late fees, or, you know, just additional things that people are already accustomed to when they go to, you know, our other counterparts' businesses. Right. When they go to corporate, you know, but it's like, man, people, I don't want to say they don't take it as seriously. They're just like, man, you really going to charge me late fees? I'm like, man, it's in the contract. It's on the website.
Right.
Yeah.
The time.
Mm-hmm. Or like, especially like for, so for us, a lot of times too is like the post ups. For example, I'm giving an example. One of my friends, she has a media company too, right? So she works like a lot of corporate clients. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll say, hey, this is like net 30. Or sometimes they'll say, hey, we'll pay after services are rendered, right?
Right.
Services are rendered and then they don't pay. So what she started implementing was, you know, like, you know, late payment fees. So like, okay, after 7 days, it goes like it's a 10%. And then after 2 weeks, it's 20%. But yeah, I'm like, man, like, I feel like those are things a lot of people, you know, of color don't do because we don't want to turn people off.
Right.
But I feel like we should to set the standard all across the board.
I agree. We don't like that. We don't want to have that, I guess, quote unquote, confrontation with a potential client or a client, you know, and we just kind of let it slide. I agree. We do. We let a lot of things slide.
A lot of things slide. And like we talked about yesterday, what's crazy, we let things slide. And when you do good business, people don't talk about it as much. But as soon as, you know, there's a mistake or there's something they don't like, they're so loud about it. So it's like, man, we might as well set the standard because people are going to do what they do anyway.
No, it's so true. I agree. That is when people are, when you're getting everything you're getting from me and you have sucked me dry, basically, but then one wrong thing or one thing you feel like you're wrong, you're going to go tell the world after you've been eating all this time good. Yeah. And I put my foot down this one time, you mad. Yeah. Like, wow. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. I experienced that so many times.
Nah, for sure. I have one more question for you.
Sure.
So we're launching a new series called C-Suite Confessions.
Okay.
C-Suite Confessions basically is we're interviewing we're interviewing C-suite executives. So CEOs, COOs, CMOs, CFOs, CTOs, all those, from small businesses to corporate clients, right? And really diving deep into, you know, their journey and their path, but like talking about the adversity part, right? Like entrepreneurs have a lot, but even entrepreneurs are CEOs and CFOs and CMOs, right?
Right.
So I want you, if you can, share a confessional about like maybe a time as a CEO in your business to where you had to overcome adversity, you had to do something like basically you had to bet all on yourself and kind of like share with somebody else who wants to be a CEO in the beauty industry. So that way they can see, okay, it isn't all, you know, rainbows and, you know, music. It's, you know, it's rough out here sometimes too.
Right. So, I mean, I got a lot. Look, that's a whole nother podcast to talk about that. But no, I would definitely say in order for you to be a CEO, you do have to delegate things. And that's something that I had to learn. And it was very hard for me because not that I don't trust others, but nobody you think, right? Nobody is going to love on your business and take those values that you have as serious as you. And so, but eventually I want to be from behind the table. Right. So that's why it was very important for me to start hiring and training and duplicating myself so I can really start to become the CEO of my company. Right. And I can step away and I can go to accept these speaking engagements and things that I have the opportunity to do. Whereas before I would turn down some of this stuff because I didn't have a team.
Right.
Like now I have a social media team. I have my team. I have a receptionist. I have an email marketing team. I have different teams now to where things are kind of rolling where I can now be a CEO versus I'm just a worker in my company. Because I think there is a difference that is the difference, right? Like you can be a solopreneur, which is fine, which is great, but I want to scale that. I want to be able to have my business still making money while I'm away, where I can actually work on the business to help you grow. Like I want to help my team reach their financial goals while I'm over here putting together the plan.
Right. That makes sense.
So did I answer the question?
You did answer.
Okay.
And I'm going to end on this, which I feel like all entrepreneurs do it when it comes to building a team. And we talked a little about it yesterday. So building a team is mandatory, right? Mm-hmm. But then it gets to the point to where, you know, everybody wants to be their own boss.
Right.
So they come work for, you know, you, they learn the sauce, and then they leave to go do their own thing. Mm-hmm. There's no way we can prevent that, right?
Right.
But how do you manage maintaining your level of service, your level of quality, building a team, and not really having to worry about people stealing your business and stealing your clients that come and learn from you, right? Because it happens in all industries. Like people learn from them and they go out and do it themselves. It's in, you know, my industry, media. It's in the food industry, restaurants, beauty. So what's your advice on that?
Man, still do you, be you, do train the people, do what you're supposed to do. However, I think it has to be real conversations with the people you're hiring on what your goals are. Right. So then you know how to move with them. It's inevitable, right? Like you're doing this and I'm hoping that I'm inspiring someone as you're working here. But if you tell me your goal is to have your own spa, I know how I need to develop you. I'm going to develop them a little bit differently than someone that says they want to just stay for a few years and they don't really have a desire of having their own spa. It's a different training. For sure. It's a different level. And that's what they don't realize. Instead of them being fake, smiling in your face, acting like everything is cool, but really they secretly stealing from you. And that's tough. But it's something that can happen. Right. It's going to happen, unfortunately. But I have to maintain my professionalism as best as I can, because sometimes you do want to put the gloves on with them, but you can't. I do want to go on social media and act a fool. I can't, because I have a real business. I have grown a pretty established brand, and I can't act like that. You just gotta, as the CEO, you got to take them losses. Yeah, for sure. Just think about probably CEOs at Target and Walmart and stuff like that. They have people a high turnover rate all the time, I'm sure, but they not on there blasting people. It's a part of it. You got to pay the cost to be the boss, really. And so you just got to know, all right, on to the next, going back to Indeed or ZipRecruiter, however you do your hiring, and maybe put together a tighter contract with your lawyer, and then see what they can do to maybe instill that. I want to say you want to make them scared, but let them know you're serious about this. If you're violating what is in here, the lawyer will be sending you some papers. Like saying that and setting a tone at the very beginning, I think has to be, because again, you know, we kind of let things slide, you know, and we can't do that for real. We kind of gotta, because I'm real laid back too. Like I know what it is, and it's like, but we gotta do that, or we gotta hire somebody to do that part. That's what people keep telling me. The people have too much access to you, Lonice. You gotta have some person in the middle. Like a buffer. So you don't have to do that hard conversation since you don't like to. Just put somebody in the middle.
We're the same people.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Cause I only have two sides. I'm super chill, laid back, or what we doing. You know, and I can't be like that with, you know, contractors or people that I've hired. So it's like, I do need somebody in the middle that like, okay, they're the manager or they're, you know, whatever their title is, you know what I'm saying, charge of operations, to where those are the conversations they have with people.
Yeah.
And then,
So that's my new implementation for 2025. I'm looking for that middleman for me.
Okay. Yeah. That's what's up. See, I learned something today.
Absolutely. That's good.
What's up. Lonice, thank you for your time. This was a great episode.
Thank you.
Definitely got to do a part 2 when we start our C-Suite Confession series, because I know we can go so deep into that. But before we get out of here, what would you like to share with the people, the audience, of course, your social media, but anything else you'd like to share with them, let them know?
Definitely. So again, thank you so much for having me. This has been an honor today. I would definitely say, if entrepreneurship is something you want, you definitely have to go get it. Don't let anyone else tell you can't. You have to believe in what you're doing, in your wildest dream, no matter what. It doesn't matter if they think you psycho. It don't matter if people if they think you're crazy. If you have that belief in what is popping up in your brain and you can't stop thinking about it, it wakes you up out your sleep, go for it. Don't let anyone else tell you not to.
That's what's up. That's one of my favorite sayings. If you want to go get it, like,
go get it. Period. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm super active there at Laced by Lonice Spa. And my website is lacedbylonice.com. I'm super responsive. You can slide on my DMs. You can send me a note through my website and you will hear back from us.
For sure. Make sure y'all follow Laced by Lonice. If you like this episode, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions for us, leave it in the comments and we'll make sure we get it to her. But until then, y'all be blessed and continue to live the COSIGN life, and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.